On today's OTP Road to Nashville, Titans Online senior writer-editor Jim Wyatt joins us to discuss the owners' meeting and takes a look at the most recent mock drafts. And Amie Wells sits down with Marcus Mariota in Hawaii to talk all things football with the Titans starting quarterback. All that and more next on the April 2nd edition of OTP Road to Nashville. It's 23 days until players are drafted in Nashville. Welcome to OTP Road to Nashville. I'm Mike Keith with Amie Wells.
Hello, Mike.
Day 2 of the OTP, our continuing series throughout the month of April. We will have a show every single weekday.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
By the way, thank you to folks for the response. We have just been overwhelmed by the fact that, that you watched our first show and didn't think it was an April Fool's joke that we said we were doing one every single day. Some people did at first. I had no idea because I didn't think of when we were planning this, and we actually started planning this back in January. We got the really crazy idea that we would do a show every day, and so April 1st was the obvious target because it's the start of draft month. The NFL is getting into town. Things are beginning to happen, so it only made sense. I never thought of it as April Fool's Day.
See, I had the thought because people had asked me on social media if it was an April Fool's joke, and I don't really get into the April Fool's vibe, so I didn't really give it much credit. Day 2 is going to be where we make our money because people will see it was not a joke. We're back for more.
And your sit down with Marcus Mariota in Hawaii, which is really, really something.
Oh, yes. We'll also have that. Never pass up a trip to Hawaii.
No,
you know?
Don't do that.
No.
But great for you, and you did a great job with it, and I know people cannot wait to see it.
It's good.
But we're also excited because Tuesdays on the OTP Road to Nashville, Jim Wyatt.
Woohoo!
Jim Wyatt is here, senior writer, editor, TitansOnline.com. Welcome back to the studio here at St. Thomas Sports Park. Welcome back from Phoenix.
Glad to be here.
Owners meetings. How was the Arizona Biltmore for you?
It was nice. It's a spectacular resort. I know Amie's been there before, and it's a good thing about staying on property is that you're on property. You're in close proximity to everything that's going on. If you need to find the owner, the GM, or the head coach, or there's a press conference, you're right there. You can get to it in a hurry. The bad news is staying at the main hotel is if you want to take a break and relax at the pool, you better not do it because
sit at
you're
the
out
bar.
there working.
Yeah, you can't really do that. The owner walks by and you're
they're not sending
you're
me out
knocking
there.
back a couple.
You just have to find a far pool.
Yes,
that's all you have to do.
That's a true professional.
But you know that other people might be trying to find a far pool too. So,
but maybe you could find some people that you want to see at
yes,
the far
that's
pool.
cool.
Right,
That's
exactly.
true. But I know they're not sending me out there to sit at the pool. So So, but it was good. It was a busy week, and certainly talked to the head coach, not only in a separate interview, but also with the hour-long coaches breakfast out there. Had a couple of conversations with the GM, talked to Amie Adams-Strunk, and then you obviously see a lot of people from across the league and have press conferences there throughout the weekend. So a very before I started working for the team, when I was working at Tennessee, I never covered the owners' meetings. I didn't really know the benefit of it until I went for the first time as a member of the organization. Great access, just a ton of information you get from there at a time when free agency is pretty much wrapping up and you're gearing toward the draft.
Let's move towards the morning headlines and take a look at Titans news to begin. All 32 teams released their off-season dates yesterday. The Titans players will be back here in 13 days, which is April the 15th. The OTAs late May into June. So 3 of them the week of May the 20th. If I'm not mistaken, that's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, the 20th, 21st, and 23rd. The next week is Memorial Day. So it's actually Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Do I have that right?
That would make sense.
I think so. And then the next week, 4 days, Monday through Thursday. Thus, those are your 10 OTAs. And then the mandatory mini camp, which, as it says, it's mandatory. Everybody has to be here, means that the team will practice the 11th, 12th, and then they will break the 13th and then be gone until what is normally the last Friday in July to start training camp. So essentially the same schedule as last year, Jim.
That's right. It'll be interesting to see which of these practices will be open to the general media. Obviously, we have an opportunity to watch these practices, but I know the fans get a better look, I guess, when they're open, and you can film stuff that's going on. And usually I think what Mike Vrabel did last year is he would pick a day in the middle of those 3 during the course of the week and make those open. So there will be Titans on the field work during the course of May, and then obviously in June we're going to have a rookie camp. I don't know if the date that date's not here. I think that's maybe May the 10th weekend, somewhere right in there.
Generally it's the second weekend after the draft. That's normally when it is.
So we'll
by
see.
Then guys have cleared the threshold of exams if they are taking classes in the spring semester.
Ah, yes.
And I think that's on a Friday, Saturday, and I think some weekends past years it's been that Friday has been the open date. I think last year was a Saturday once those guys get their feet wet a little bit. So that's something to look forward to as well.
You know what I'm looking forward to in looking at these dates? I want to see if that June 13th, the last day of mandatory minicamp, is actually a practice.
It never is.
It never is. But I'm saying, what a surprise if everyone shows up thinking they're going to go play laser tag,
and
they've got to go out on the field and practice.
That would be the first I've
That would
ever,
be a surprise.
In 22 years, it would be the first time I'd ever seen that.
Well, and it's always super secret. It's always this top secret, don't tell everybody, but we're going to the movies. Like, everybody knows.
Yeah,
Like,
that would be the shocker as the guys show up. It's like, okay, we got a surprise. Practice!
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. That would shake things up.
It'll never happen.
Well.
It'll never happen,
I
think. All right, headline number 2. Seattle Seahawks. John Schneider is their general manager. He's fantastic at his job. Talking to the Seattle Times at a charity event last night that he hosts, which is actually a wonderful thing. And he was talking about their situation with the draft and the fact that Seattle only has 4 picks in this draft.
Sounds like the Titans 2018 draft.
21, 84, 124, and 159. And he says, John Schneider saying he's not cool with 4 picks in the draft. I think this is a team that is desperately looking to get back and maybe looking to make some sort of deal.
Yep.
Some sort of blockbuster deal, because John Schneider loves to pick. Since he's been the general manager of the Seattle Seahawks, they have drafted more players. They have made more draft picks than any other team.
Really?
Well, that's wrong. They have made more moves overall than any other team.
Wow.
So I didn't say that properly. I apologize. But, they are active. But at 21, you're wondering who's looking to get up. Why is that interesting? The Titans pick at 19.
Mm-hmm. That is interesting.
So does somebody make a deal with Seattle to get up to 21 And that's something that the Titans have to be cognizant of, because then it makes dropping back, you've got to be, super interested in what's going to happen there. I think about a team like Indianapolis, who needs an edge rusher, who wants some defensive line help, who is always interested in offensive linemen and tight ends and things that you hear mentioned with the Titans. Indianapolis has all these extra picks. Do they try to move up? We'll talk about Indianapolis later in the show, but that's one to watch.
I would agree. And I mentioned Titans had 4 picks. Obviously had 6 to start and ended up with 4. And Seattle in a different situation where they're trying to accumulate more picks. So their move would be to move maybe out of
back.
Those picks. And
maybe even out of the first round altogether in order to just gather picks. I mean, they could trade multiple times to do it. I say if you're a Titans fan, keep an eye on what Seattle does, because you've not only got to look ahead of you, but you've always got to look in your rearview mirror too. Last year, the Titans did what they did, jumping up with Baltimore to get Rashaan Evans, because they knew Pittsburgh was going to take him. They knew New England was trying to get up. You've always got to know who's in the neighborhood. I call it Mr. Robinson's neighborhood. That's what
no.
Back to Eddie Murphy. Back to Eddie Murphy on Saturday Night Live. Mr. Robinson's neighborhood. But I'm always looking. I'm looking like 3 in front, and then I'm looking 3, 4 behind him, because that's who you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm. It's very interesting.
Who is in Mr. Robinson's neighborhood? You don't even remember that. You're not old enough to remember Eddie Murphy doing that
reruns.
character. Okay. Whoop-de-hell, all right. Who said that? Gadsden, Alabama's own Freddie Kitchens, who's the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, talking about the fact that his team reported yesterday. Everybody is all excited because Odell Beckham Jr. is there, and it's like they're putting together this rock star, all-star team. Everybody's saying on paper the Cleveland Browns are better. He goes, we're better on paper. Whoop-de-hell, all right? That's Freddie Kitchens, and who's perfect for Cleveland. He is going to be a perfect match. He's got a great personality. He's a funny guy. They're going to quote him all the time like that. How good are the Cleveland Browns?
On paper, they're really good. I mean, they really, in the last 2 years, have, just like you said, assembled an all-star team. There are these names coming through there. The OBJ move was just crazy. There are so many aspects of this team that you look at and say, well, there we go. The Browns are real. And then something always seems to happen. So on paper, yes, they're better. But again, whoop-de-hell.
And the team,
right.
You talk about the coach having a personality. I mean, the team has a personality.
Oh,
now.
yeah.
I mean, I love the quarterback. I love his attitude and love the swagger that he plays with. And now he's got some guys around him at the receiver position, not only in OBJ, but in Landry. We got good running backs. Obviously, one of them's going to be suspended for 8 games. Got a good tight end. I think they should be considered the favorite in that division with the way other things are going. Obviously, a lot of moves in Baltimore. Pittsburgh, lost 2 really key players from that team, and they've had a lot of turmoil they've had to deal with. Bengals, certainly have been at better stages during their time in that division. So I say the Browns ought to be the favorite.
Would you pick them?
I would.
No. I don't trust
Just
them
out
yet.
of general principle, you would not.
Well, I don't trust them yet. I don't know what's going to happen with this coaching staff. I don't know how all of these personalities are going to gel together.
Right.
I don't know. Nope.
I think the best move they made, though, was hiring Todd Monken as their offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
He's a really, really good coach, good football coach, good offensive coach. I think he will do well with Baker Mayfield and incorporating Jarvis Landry and Nick Chubb and Beckham and the whole gang. What's most fascinating about the Browns is we are 23 days from the draft. Their draft is not a big story because they don't have a first-round pick. All that draft capital that they had acquired is now gone.
Yeah.
because they've either used the picks or they've traded the picks at this point. Their first pick doesn't come until number 49.
Which is unusual for the Browns because in the
normally
past,
they have 8.
Yeah, we see them hoarding picks and then kind of making some interesting, we'll call them creative decisions. But usually the Browns operate the same way that I operate in fantasy football. They love the draft, don't really care as much about the actual season in the past, which is how I play fantasy. I love to draft.
But now
who
they're,
knows?
they were 7-8-1 a year ago. After going 1-31, they were 7-8-1. But they do have a rookie head coach.
And that's a game on the Titans schedule next year in Cleveland.
Wow. And that leads me to something that I want to hit before we move on. So we always do this. We play the little game, the Titans opener. We think there's a very good chance that we see the schedule 2 weeks.
Probably.
Generally, it's the week before the draft. I think the Titans are going to open in Cleveland.
Really?
I think that's the opener. They've opened against Pittsburgh the last 2 years, but I think with them being the marquee story that they are, they're going to push the Pittsburgh and the Baltimore games back on their schedule.
Interesting.
And I think it's going to happen. If you haven't studied it, here's a look at the Titans' opponents. So this is where people could go, or where the Titans could go. All right, the home games, Kansas City, the Chargers, New Orleans, Tampa Bay, and Buffalo. Away, Denver, Atlanta, Oakland. I don't even want to say Oakland because I don't want to go to Oakland. I'd rather go to Oakland in December.
That's not happening.
No.
Nope.
We'll go when it's really hot.
Yep.
And very uncomfortable.
Uh-huh.
Denver, Oakland, Atlanta, Carolina, Cleveland. So I'm taking in the pool that doesn't actually exist. Mike Keith says at Cleveland. That's my prediction for the opener.
The opener, okay.
Here are some other predictions. And I'll give you a second, Jim Wyatt, and I'll give you a second, Amie Wells.
Now, these other predictions you're getting rolled off? Are these your predictions?
From our team.
Okay.
From our team out here, Ashley Farrell at Jacksonville.
Okay.
Hot and steamy.
Jeff Harding at Oakland. Mike Duell, Kansas City. I think you actually said at Kansas City, though. We don't go there. I mean, you can go to Kansas City while we play. Yeah.
He just go for the barbecue.
He's going.
Barbecue.
It's a
I'll
good
go
play.
too.
It's a good
Yeah.
spot. I like
It
going
is.
to Kansas City. Mike Keith says at Cleveland. Rick says at Houston. He's got a division game to open. Jim Wyatt, Titans opener. All but one of the 5 first picks are road games because the Titans almost always, it seems, get stuck with a road game.
I'm going to say that the Titans are going to open up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, kind of a repeat of the 2015 season, this time at home. Marcus Mariota against Jameis Winston.
Nice. In year 5.
Yep.
All right, so you're going with that. Amie Wells.
That's a really good story.
It is a good story.
I think we're going to end up at Oakland.
At Oakland.
Yeah. It's just inconvenient and uncomfortable enough
Yes.
to happen.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, so we've got 2 at Oakland. I guess the winner could receive a Titans draft hat.
I like that.
It's a nice way we work in a draft hat. I think this draft hat is going to Morrison Hall in Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Is that the official draft
This
cap
is
from
the
New
official.
Era
Have you not seen it?
with the stars on it?
Clearly
Have you-
didn't watch the
well,
show yesterday.
okay, you didn't. So you did. Wait a minute.
Huh.
So you're the.
Interesting.
Hang on a second here.
I watched the beginning, but then I had work
We
interrupt
did it
me.
at the beginning.
He had work.
He didn't watch
He
the beginning.
had
We did the whole
work.
thing. We had the first look in person at the hats. I went over and bought them.
That's a good. I'll have to get a picture of that and tweet it out before the.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nobody
maybe-
knows, Jim. It's only been out for 24 hours.
Just tweet out our show.
Yeah,
huh?
way to be all
How about
over it,
that?
Jim. Okay, so here, let me hand it to you. Look on the inside. There is the state flag of
Oh, I like
Tennessee on
that.
the inside. And so the hat is designed with the state flag in mind, which is why it has the 3 stars on the front.
This says property of head coach Mike Vrabel.
Oh,
Did
give me
you
that
steal
back
his
then.
hat?
Yeah, don't say. No, he's not going to be drafted.
What do you think about that hat?
It's growing on me.
Yeah?
It's.
Now, maybe I
the
need more time. If I'd have seen it yesterday, maybe I could say I like it. Let's see. Yeah.
The young people like it.
Okay.
I like it.
Well, that takes me out of the equation.
Someone
there.
who lives in Morrison Hall in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, likes
Big
it.
fan?
So I think that's probably where it's going. Shout out to my boys at UNC.
Hey, before we get
Yes.
too far away from the home opener conversation, can we just acknowledge how awesome the Titans' home schedule is going to be this year. And this is very organic.
Can we put it back up?
Yeah, we didn't plan this, but if you haven't bought Titans season tickets, what in the world are you doing?
Yeah, this is the year. I mean, Kansas City and the Chargers and New Orleans and Tampa and Buffalo, and then the three. We only play in the best division in football.
Right.
It's the only division in football where all four teams have gone to the playoffs in the last 2 years, and the only division in football where last year there were three teams with a winning record.
I'll tell you what.
Those
games are
for
going to
any
be
of
good.
those, for any of those folks who have been dogging the AFC South, look it up.
Yeah, you're
all
wrong.
four teams. The team that was picked to win the AFC South last year finished last, and they went to the AFC Championship game the year before. And in fairness to Jacksonville, they had a ton of injuries.
Mm-hmm.
A ton.
Now they've got a new quarterback who guided a team to a Super Bowl win not long ago.
He sure did. He sure did. And Houston and Indianapolis aren't going anywhere either. All right, so let's talk about draft stuff and what you learned at the league meetings. You had a unique perspective to spend some time with some of the league folks in talking about the Nashville draft. What did you learn, Jim Wyatt?
Yeah, Peter O'Reilly, who has been very involved in this process all the way through. That's who we talked to when the official draft announcement came in Atlanta at the owners' meetings in May, leading up to the announcement. And he pretty much said, we're going to start to feel it in Nashville starting this week. 100 tractor trailer filled with all kinds of staging and other equipment that's going to be used to set up the stage. That's supposed to arrive in Nashville later this week. You're going to start to see wraps on buses. You're going to start to see flags coming from the light poles downtown. You're going to start to see signage, not only at Bridgestone, but in other areas surrounding downtown. I happen to be driving through downtown over the weekend. I know there's a traffic signal box right there in front of Hard Rock Cafe. I think Hilton and Fourth, Butch Spirited, I talked to him as well. He said, I think there's one there. And there's going to be the Convention Center marquee. There's also a draft logo there. And all this is going to be amplified during the course of the week as they get geared up. As far as traffic and how it's impacted, I don't think you're going to see a lot of that until we get closer to the end of this month. Nissan Stadium is where a lot of this activity is going to take place because it's just not going to impact things. You just don't have the traffic flow through there, so you're going to see that move faster. But it's here, and you're going to start to feel it more. Starting this week.
That's a good lead in to the second part of our interview with Matt Shapiro, who's the NFL Vice President of Event Strategy and Integration, discussing the evolution of the draft from where it began to what the expectation is for how this whole thing is going to flow in Nashville, April 25 through 27. How has the draft evolved from the vision perspective of the league, from, let's say, those Radio City Music Hall days to what you hope to see this year?
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. You think about those images of the commissioner writing on a chalkboard in a hotel ballroom, and just what it's become now is pretty incredible. I think every year we go to a city, we sort of have that moment where we stand on the footprint of where the draft could be. I think about it in Philadelphia. It's kind of standing on those rocky steps. I think about it here in Nashville, looking down Broadway, at AT&T Stadium in Chicago, at all these places. It's become something that's really incredible and really special. So I think we've needed to prove that concept out. I think we do it time and again and sort of go from the state of the vision to here we are, it's Thursday night and we're moments away from kicking this thing off, and people showed up and the screens are working and the prospects are here, and it's just been an incredible run. So I think every year we really raise the bar. Every year we go to that city, we think about what's special in that city, what makes it unique. And again, I think you look at a Chicago, Grant Park was the best place to be there. You look at Philadelphia, where else could we be but Benjamin Franklin Parkway? You look at Dallas, what's the most impactful thing there? This incredible stadium. You look at Nashville, we got to be downtown, Lower Broadway, honky tonks near the stadium, all this. So every time we go somewhere, what's really unique about the draft is, unlike some of our other events that are very much based in a stadium, we have a pretty blank canvas here, and I think what we try to do is make sure that we're painting it in a really unique way in every city.
Matt, as we start the 100th NFL season, Nashville becomes the 9th different city to host an NFL draft. How does the league view the Nashville experience as its own thing, different from the other 8 cities that have ever hosted the draft.
Yeah, it's going to be more unique than anything we've ever had. And again, it's nothing against those other cities. I think every city brings in what's unique, although I'll say the draft has become this very sort of free, open, fun fan festival. I think even without the draft, if we weren't here April 25th through 27th, I'm sure Nashville would be excited and rocking and feel like sort of a big fan festival in some respect anyway. So from the beginning, it's really been about marrying the draft and Nashville and coming together, and I think the results are going to be pretty incredible. So we're really excited to see that come to life.
Good stuff. Good stuff from Matt Shapiro, the NFL Vice President of Event Strategy and Integration, as we're 23 days away.
Absolutely. Jim, I have a lot of questions I want to ask you about owners' meetings because I wasn't there this year. I was in Hawaii. First, I saw that Amy Adams-Strunk was talking about changes that are going to be made to the light blue jersey. Can you tell me about that and what that means?
Yeah, and Mike could speak to this, working with the jerseys probably as well as anyone, because you've got to make such quick calls on plays. But I got a lot of questions, obviously, during the course of last season, because those Titans jerseys were worn twice early, obviously in the opener at Miami and then in Jacksonville, and then you didn't see them again. And what the team is going to do, and it's not, if you bought one of these light blue jerseys, I don't think you feel like you've got to scrap it to buy a new one, because the changes are pretty subtle, but they're going to make a slight modification where they're going to increase the size of the numbers on those jerseys. They're going to keep them navy. They're just going to be a little bit thicker. And she said they test them. She had someone with the league, obviously, with the jersey designer that observe these from the press box. You can see them a lot better, and that's what you're going to see on the field in 2019. Just a thicker, I think 3/4 of an inch on the numbers, where you're just going to be able to see them a lot better. Mike, what was that like for you?
Torture.
Yeah.
and the torture.
Subtle.
And the torture of it was that I love those jerseys.
Yeah,
I love them. And when you watch the shots that we have up from the field, the numbers look fine. But from where we are in the press box, and in Miami, we don't have a good broadcast position. And I thought at first, well, that's the reason we can't see them. But then when we came home and you could, they wash out. And so she asked me. I was one of the people, I mean, she didn't base her opinion on me, but she said, could you, and I told her the truth. I said, absolutely not. She asked a lot of people, and that's her. I mean, that's what I think makes her so special is fans talk to her, her family talk to her, friends talk to her. You just could not see the numbers well enough, and so that's her. She's gone and done something about it, which I think is fantastic.
And the two places where they wore them, I mean, Miami, you were in a different corner of Hard Rock Stadium than I was sitting, but it was difficult to see them from there. And then obviously in Jacksonville where the sun's shining and you're at the very top of the stadium, I mean, it was hard, and that's. I can identify after seeing a replay. You've got to make the call live when it's happening, and it's tough to do.
Well, when in doubt, just make it up.
Yeah.
Half of the stuff Mike says on the radio
It's not
did
even
not
happening.
happen. Yeah.
And I do get the sense. I mean, I get a lot of questions about whether old Oilers throwbacks, which are retired. I mean, they want to wear these. I mean, these are the ones that I think fans like, and certainly she likes. And I think you're going to see obviously a lot more of them. And I think you'll be able to.
I think it's cool that she makes the change, but I also think it's cool that she makes the change in a way that the people who bought that jersey for themselves don't have to go buy a new one. And I think that's a great thing. Her comments on Marcus Mariota at the owners' meeting, characterize those if you would.
Well, I mean, I think everyone in this organization has been supportive of Marcus all the way through, and John Robinson's comments at the end of last season and Mike Vrabel, they've all said, they want Marcus Mariota to be this quarterback moving forward, and that's what she said as well. I mean, this team actively in contract negotiations with him? No. But does this team want Marcus Mariota to be the starting quarterback and the franchise quarterback, not only for 2019 but beyond? Yes, and that's what she said, and that's what she wants to see. Now, he's going to have to perform well. He's going to have to stay healthy. I mean, God forbid something happens to him in September where he's sidelined for a long stretch, or he doesn't perform well. I don't think that's what anybody's thinking now, but those things, certainly would affect thinking moving forward. But as she looks ahead to this season, as she looks ahead, she wants Marcus to be the quarterback for this team, and now we'll just have to see how things transpire during the course of the season.
Another person who everyone has been talking about is Derrick Henry. You spent time with Mike Vrabel and John Robinson. What did they have to say about him going into year 4?
Well, I mean, I thought that was pretty they were pretty strong in their comments in the way he ended last season, kind of put him in a position where he's going to be the offense, not the offense, but he's going to be the main part of this offense. They want to ride him in September like they did in December. That's what John Robinson said. That's what Mike Vrabel said. Amie Adams-Strunk obviously, raved about him as well. Obviously, they're going to have to do it, and it's going to be behind an offensive line that's still in the process of being rebuilt. We're not going to see Josh Klein. We're not going to see Quentin Spain in here. We're not going to see Roger Saffold alongside, of course, Taylor Lewan and Jack Conklin, and still some other questions there. Ben Jones, I expect to be back in the equation, but there's still a spot to be had there. That group's going to have to perform well. Derrick Henry's going to have to run well in order to continue to get those carries at the start of the season, but they made no bones about it. I mean, they want Derrick Henry to be the offense is going to start with him this season, which is different than last season.
Give us the update that you heard on Delanie Walker to share with Titans fans.
He is what Mike Vrabel called he's going to be part of an individual performance plan. I think I'm using the right terminology on him, in that he's going to, some days he'll be outside working with the team. Some days he'll be inside in the pool. Some days he'll be on the treadmill. I think all the guys that are coming back from injuries, whether it's Delanie, whether it's Jonnu, I don't think Marcus is necessarily going to be in that plan, but I think anybody that was slowed or has had some kind of off-season surgery, they're just going to monitor them throughout the course of the offseason. I mean, the games are not played in April. They're played in September and beyond, so they don't want to do anything that's going to hinder his progress. I get the sense that he's made great progress and is going to be in a good position when the program starts on April the 15th, but that means he could be limited and they may watch him a little bit.
Were you surprised when Mike Vrabel said that Kevin Pomfield might get a chance to be the starting right guard?
I was surprised in the way he said it. I mean, 'cause I guess I had not really thought about Kevin in 2018 and understanding more about why he wasn't in the mix early, because they couldn't afford to put him in the mix at guard early last year because he was needed to play tackle as Jack Conklin was coming back from injury, and then of course Taylor Lewan had to deal with an injury himself with the concussion. He was needed at tackle, and he wasn't ever in the mix at guard. And then by the time those guys healed up a little bit, then Kevin Pomfield's out for the season. So Mike Vrabel said one of the big reasons he decided to come back here because he was told he was going to be in the mix at guard starting this season. So I thought that was pretty revealing. Does that happen? I mean, I don't think we're done there as far as additions go. So while he's going to be in the mix, I wouldn't necessarily pencil him into the starting lineup at this point.
One of the things that you do that I love at TitansOnline.com is you tour the mock drafts. And you have just done one. You have toured 30 recent mock drafts. I think John Robinson's plan is coming into focus nicely, and that is he's sort of got everybody confused. 10 different guys are named as the Titans pick at number 19 in the most recent mocks. We have them up for you. The most popular is Noah Fant, the tight end from Iowa. Christian Wilkins, the highly intelligent, talented defensive tackle from Clemson, is 2. Number 3 shocks me. Marquise Brown, the wide receiver from Oklahoma, who can flat go, but that one surprises me that people would marry the Titans and Brown. Brian Burns doesn't surprise me at all. He's an outstanding edge rusher. And then the rest of them. No shock. Dexter Lawrence, Garrett Bradbury, DK Metcalf, Irv Smith Jr., TJ Hawkinson, and Cleland Ferrell, which is actually how you say it.
Furl?
Furl.
Not like feral,
No.
Like Will.
Cleveland Furl.
Furl. Like furry.
He's mentioned with the Titans as well. So what strikes you about the mock drafts?
Well, I think just the wide range of picks. I think and somebody made a comment underneath it yesterday, and that you can look at it this year and say there's probably not a guy on this list that you wouldn't want on the team. I mean, obviously some of them seem to make a better fit than others, but this is a pretty good group of players that you're selecting.
Yeah.
And it has changed from when I first started. First time I do these is maybe in February before free agency starts, and then I do them with a greater regularity as we get closer to the draft and free agency needs have been filled, and some of these guys are obviously more in tune with what's happening than others because they're checking with their sources, their scouts, and they're getting up until the most fascinating one is the day of the draft, because that's when some of these guys that are pretty hardcore analysts and do this for a living, they're getting last minute updates from maybe what the draft boards look like for some of these teams. So some of these guys that are being pegged for teams at 19 potentially could move way up because they're not going to be in range. Some of them could completely drop back. That's when we get the biggest read on these. But I just think it's interesting the wide range of players that we're looking at here.
Could the Titans select Noah Fant, the tight end from Iowa?
I asked John Robinson about the tight end position and asked him that specifically and said, hey, a lot of these mock drafts have you picking tight ends, and the way he answered the question was, hey, we're looking for more of a depth guy. We're not looking for somebody at number 19. But then when I kind of circled back around to it again, saying, so you wouldn't take a tight end at 19, and he kind of hesitated a little bit, where it left me with a little bit of doubt. He's a heck of a player. And if you pick a tight end at 19, that's not a knock on Delanie Walker. I mean, we've got to realize that Delanie Walker is getting ready to be 35 years old. He can't play forever, although he certainly doesn't show any signs of slowing down until the injury. So,
well, here's what I would say to that. 2003, the Titans have pick number 60. They take Tyrone Calico, the wide receiver from MTSU. And Jim was there when he got hurt, too. So I think Jim will agree with me that if Tyrone Calico does not hurt his knee at Dallas,
yes,
if Roy Williams doesn't horse collar him at one of the plays that led to the rule and basically ended his career, he was never the same guy after that. Tyrone Calico, I think, would have been a good NFL player. Put that aside. 9 picks later, Jason Witten was selected. If you knew you could get somebody who is just special, regardless of the position, if you're sitting there in that room and you say, I don't know, can we pass this player up? Is one of those tight ends, is it Irv Smith, is it Hawkinson, is it Fant, can you pass him up? Or can you do that with a player at another position? I think that's the balance of the board, is when you're there, you just say, man, this player, regardless of position, is a difference maker that we can't pass up.
Well, and you also see teams kind of get into a groove when they're drafting, and it seems to be you're either drafting to win right now tomorrow, or you're drafting to win in a couple years. You're drafting for the future. So that's what's going to be interesting to see, is if the Titans are adding pieces that say we are 1 or 2 guys away, we want to do this right now, or if they're saying this guy's special, this guy could be a player for us down the line a little bit. We'll have to see. But it'll be interesting to see where the Titans kind of go with.
But at that moment, the Titans had Frank Wycheck at the end of his career, what turned out to be his last year. They had Aaron Kenny. I mean, they had tight ends, but if they got there and they had decided, listen, Jason Witten lasted until the 69th pick of the draft. So everybody agreed, there was nobody, it was like the Tom Brady thing. Mm-hmm. There was nobody who thought this, that he would do what he has done.
Right.
But you at those moments, can you do that? Can you pull that trigger? Just like the trigger they pulled in the 3rd round with Jarrell Casey, which has turned out to be a pretty doggone good pick.
I don't think it's crazy. I really don't. I mean, and again, this tight ends have been a popular pick. Fant's been a popular pick for the Titans since February, and
he can run.
And now that this team has found another rusher in Cameron Wake, this team has filled one of his guard spots in Roger Saffold. Obviously, Adam Humphries was a big addition. You know, you got your backup quarterback in Ryan Tannehill. I think you've got more options as a result of what's happened so far, and you can always plug holes with other guys that are still out there in free agency. So I don't look at tight end and think this is crazy talk. I mean, I think I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I think it's not outside the realm of possibility.
Well, it leads us right into our next topic, which is the division. And we wanted to preview the Indianapolis Colts and what they're into right now while Jim was here. Because obviously the Titans are looking for special players to potentially knock off a Colts team that won 9 of their last 10 games, lost in the divisional round, but was truly as hot as anybody going into the playoffs and played well at the end of the year. They have chosen to re-sign their own guys, which is a big part of what they did. Mark Lewinsky, one of their guards, is back, so now they are assured of having all 5 starting offensive linemen back. Margus Hunt played well in the offensive line, and then Pierre Desir and Clayton Gathers playing in the secondary. They've added a pass rusher in Justin Houston, along with a free agent wide receiver, and I'm talking about Devin Funchess. So only 2 of those guys. There you see the restricteds. The 2 unrestricteds, Funchess and Houston, would be next. And then they have kept their restricted free agents as well, including wide receiver Chester Rogers. And that list is solid. So they've done a good job. Their needs, guess what? Edge rusher. They need a second wide receiver to go with T.Y. Hilton. They want to add that second wide receiver. Safety, and also linebacker. There they are. Edge rusher, wide receiver, safety, and linebacker. And then let's look at their picks.
I don't want to.
Well, you have to.
Ugh.
You're on the show.
Ugh.
They have a late first-round pick, and then they have the Jets' second-round pick at 34. They have 59, 89, 129, 135, 164, 199, and 240. They can draft all those players and continue to keep their payroll low, and they are still over, I think, $70 million under the cap right now was the last figure I saw. Those tend to fluctuate, but they have plenty of money. Or if they want to make some kind of deal and go up and get a special player, they can sort of do what the Titans did a year ago and try to target spots. The Colts are in the catbird seat, Jim Wyatt.
They are, and I was talking to John Clayton at the owners' meetings, and I was asking a Titans-related question, and he spun it toward the Colts and pretty much said what I think a lot of people feel, and that they are the team to beat in the AFC South. Now, the Titans obviously want to have something to say about that, and we'll have something to say about that, but got to figure out a way to beat these guys. I like what they've done. I think they've got a really smart general manager. They've obviously got a quarterback who has returned to form, and adding Justin Houston, I think will provide a boost. But you rolled off the draft picks. I mean, they're in a pretty good spot as being able to fill some more needs. Their offensive line is in great shape. I mean, they proved that last year and how they protected Andrew Luck. So you look at the division, and I think the Colts are the team you have to worry about the most.
All right, let me stop you there. Last question for you. Are they the AFC favorite?
With what's happened in New England and Gronkowski retiring, if he stays retired, I think you could make a very strong case for that.
I think you
really
can too.
Do.
Jim Wyatt, great stuff from you as always. How do people follow you on Twitter?
At J Wyatt Sports is how you follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and be writing stories on Titans Online, and now put those stories on Facebook as well. So
what's this? Give us a hit on the story today.
Today I put out the mailbag.
The mailbag. It's Tuesday.
I do the Tuesday,
yes.
And every Tuesday and Saturday, and it's just crazy where these questions come from.
All right,
each
maybe
day.
take a picture of the draft hat there.
That's a good-looking hat.
Yeah,
you guys got to start pumping this up here on the OTP.
We have to start pumping it up?
Get out. Leave now.
Maybe Jim will watch the show between now and next Tuesday.
Yeah, that would be really nice.
One reason to watch this show – thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
One reason to watch this show is Amie Wells and her fine reporting, especially her fine reporting from Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yesterday, we saw you at the golf tournament with Marcus Mariota, the Motivate Golf Tournament. We found out a lot about what he's doing for charity. Today, we take a different turn, and you had a chance to sit down and, as we like to say in the South, talk ball.
Absolutely, I
with
did.
With number 8.
Well, I mean, we went all that way. We had to ask him some football questions, but really, I had to start by asking him how much time he actually gets to spend in beautiful Hawaii. What does the off-season kind of look like for you? Are you bouncing around a lot? Are you here? What does a typical day or couple days look like for you during the off-season?
You know what? This off-season's been a little different for me. Usually this time of the year I'm in California with my agent and the trainer that I work with. But through the season and, really what kind of happened, I wanted to come home and really just kind of be around people that I loved and supported me. So I really spent probably since January I've been in and out really of being here in Hawaii, which is the first time I think I've been home for more than maybe a month at a time since high school. So it was nice to be able to be here, to train, to rehab, to kind of do everything here at home. It's kind of fun. You get to be kind of the middle Pacific. You don't get many phone calls. You don't get many media requests. So it's been nice to be able to do that and to enjoy some time off where I can feel a little bit more recuperated and ready to go back to Nashville.
So is it safe to say that this place is kind of your sanctuary?
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. And like we talked about, it takes a village to raise a child, and every time I come home, I feel there's like a little protection. They all kind of, no matter what I'm doing, whether I'm at the beach or playing golf or working out, people tend to just say hello, show their support, and for me that means a lot. And it's nice to be able to come back here and enjoy that.
Tell me about how you're feeling right now. You feeling good? You feeling like things are getting back on track for you?
I would say so, yeah. I'm getting close to feeling a whole lot better. It's taken a little while. What was kind of weird for me was this offseason, it wasn't necessarily like, hey, you can do more reps and you can feel better. It was like, hey, you shouldn't do anything and you'll feel better. So it was kind of a different aspect for me. I've always kind of felt more is better, but this time, whether it was the doctors, whether it's, the rehab people here, or with Todd and those guys, it was more, hey, let's just take some time off and get your body right. So I'm feeling a lot better. I'm looking forward to being back in Nashville and continuing that process with Todd and those guys. I think, now with the new coaching, strength and conditioning staff, we're excited to be able to get back to work.
As a guy who's not used to taking that slow down period, do you feel like you're itching a little bit to get back?
Yes, absolutely. And the excitement, it always comes around, but I can really feel it this year. And it's fun because, again, we got a good core group of guys that have been there since really my rookie year. And we've kind of always consistently got better. To put 3 winning seasons together is an awesome foundation. Now let's go take the next step, and I think we're ready to do that.
You're going to have your core group of guys in terms of skill players back. Everyone's still going to be there, plus the addition of Adam Humphries. Is there a lot to be excited about for you? You have a lot of things to play with now.
For sure. And, as we continue forward, the young core group of receivers that we got are going to learn and continue to grow. I'm excited for Corey. He made a huge step last season. Tajay's another guy that's continuing to grow, and then you got Tay who can really just take the top off of the defenses. So, I'm excited to get that core group of guys again back together. And then when you throw the old guy, Delanie, back in there, it's definitely going to help. So, no matter what, we've got a great team. We all just got to continue to work and to listen to Art. I think Art's got a great vision for us. And then from there, just go out there and play.
You're really familiar with Arthur Smith. He's been around for a long time. Why do you think he's going to be the guy?
Well, I think he, for one, just loves the game. His passion, his drive, you can see it with how he coaches the tight ends. And now he's going to be able to take that and really kind of spread it across the entire offense. And I'm really excited. He's a great mind, somebody that I feel has been around the game on both sides of the ball. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited to learn from him because I think he's got such a good feel. So I think everybody in general is really excited to get back.
Marcus Mariota, why are you excited about the 2019 season?
I think we have an opportunity to make the next step. I'm excited to get healthy. I'm excited to go back out there with our guys. Again, we've got a solid foundation. And for us right now, I think we're always kind of getting better. I think Coach Vrabel's got a vision for us. And as we continue to push towards that vision, I think we'll end up where we want to go.
That just got me fired up.
Didn't it?
It just got me fired up for two reasons, Amie Wells. It feels like he's rested and his batteries are charged physically and mentally. Was that your takeaway sitting down with him last week?
Oh, absolutely. He's ready to get the band back together and get started again. He's ready to go. He's itching to get back, as he said. And but how could you not be recharged in a place like Hawaii? What a beautiful place to get your mojo back.
Yeah, it's a good place to be. My parents were there last week.
Oh, we could have hung out.
And they came back saying, I've just talked to him briefly, but saying the same thing is that you understand why he feels the way he does about where he's from, because that culture is so special. No offense to anybody else, but that's just such a unique, wonderful place to be from, and really a great thing for him to have this opportunity at this point in his life at 25, getting ready for this big year.
Absolutely. Everything that we see about Marcus Mariota and we say, oh, that's special. He's a special guy. That's how a lot of people are there. And it was just so cool to see the people that raised him and the people that made him. And it was a really special trip, and we have so much more to share that I'm excited about.
You did a great job.
Oh, thanks, Mike.
You did a great job.
Thanks.
I know people will appreciate seeing that interview. They want to know what's going on with the quarterback. You know who else does a great job? I'm proud of this guy. Toke Sequoia, Tennessee Titans marketing coordinator, who's here with us.
How are you?
Did you start with us as an intern?
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Look at it. And now he's the marketing coordinator.
Yeah.
We are proud. Murfreesboro guy,
yeah.
We're proud of you.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Your desk was outside my office, Tokes.
That's right.
He was
That's
my
how it
bodyguard
started.
for a year.
All right. Now he's got all kinds of stuff going, because with this draft, we've told everybody one of the reasons we're doing OTP Road to Nashville is all of the things going on with it. So let's hit some of the high points.
Yeah, of course.
Through a Titans social media contest, someone could have an amazing experience the first night of the draft, but then for days and weeks to come. What can you win, and how do you enter this?
So we are running a Music City experience through the NFL and their NFL 100. They wanted each team to do a unique event, unique experience for their fans, celebrating obviously the 100th season. And so this experience that we have includes 2 tickets to a concert at Nissan Stadium, a tour of Nissan Stadium.
You mean you get to pick the concert?
You get to pick the concert, yeah.
Cool.
Which is great, great experience.
Attraction passes?
Attraction passes. So the CVC, the Convention of Visitors Corp, decided to give us an attraction pass. So 30 different attractions throughout Middle Tennessee. You get a 2-person pass to it, which is an awesome experience. We'll give them a Titans swag bag as well, which includes a Titans helmet. You get
I had to buy my helmet.
I know.
With the new helmets, I had to buy
Which the new helmets are very sweet. Very sweet.
They're totally sweet.
Yeah, so you get
But then let's look at this thing at the bottom.
Yeah. So
you get to so April 25th.
Yep.
We say, and with the 19th pick, the Tennessee Titans select Toke Sequoia. And so you come out, you give the commissioner the big hug. If I win this contest, I get to walk up and hand this hat.
Yep.
To the player.
Yep. So backstage, you're backstage. Obviously the players backstage. They're
goosebumps.
Celebrating with their family.
I would do anything to do that.
They got to walk right by you. You're the one hand in the hat right to that
That's
player right before he
unbelievable.
gets
How do we
on
enter
stage.
this?
So you'll be entering it via social media. So we have a landing page on our website, which is, I believe it's titansonline.com/draftmce.
MCE.
MCE.
Music City Experience.
There it is.
Well played.
There it is.
Well done. Well, that's not the only thing that people can win, though, right? You can also win a chance to, make sure I'm saying this right, a chance to announce one of our draft picks live from the draft stage on day 3.
That is
can't
correct.
be real.
That is real. That is real. So we'll announce that contest next week, Monday. And yes,
so you're going to come back on Monday, or you just give us the information?
Come hang out with us, Doug.
if you need me, I'll be here. But yeah, you'll be backstage. You'll get a hangout back there. And then obviously as day 3 is going on, when Titans are making their pick, we'll announce you. You'll get to walk out there on the draft stage with the card, and announce in front of hundreds of thousands of people downtown.
NFL
Neat.
Draft Experience is going to be big time cool at Nissan Stadium. We heard a lot about Dallas. You don't think it's cool?
No, you just said big time cool,
Big
and that
time,
just
that's-
really got me.
But
That's
it is.
better than just regular
Is there
cool.
anything Titans-centric in the NFL experience on the campus of Nissan Stadium?
There is. And so inside the big draft experience, which I'm hoping every single fan gets a chance to go and enjoy, on the Play 60 clinic field, we'll have a little Titans area kind of activation space with photo ops. We'll have giveaways. We'll have alumni autographs. Cheerleaders will be participating. That Thursday at 12, when the draft experience opens for the first time, our Blue Crew drum line will be out there performing.
I love them.
Yeah, which they're fantastic. Obviously, Amie loves them as well. Our owner, she's a big fan of them. They got her drumsticks as well that she always has, and she'll go out there and play with them sometimes before game day.
That's pretty cool. All right, here's a question for you. If I'm a fan and I want some Titan swag, where am I going to get that swag?
You're going to go to our area on that Play 60 field to go get some Titan swag. As well, we'll have our street team, which is our Tighten Up team, that will be all over downtown, all over draft experience. They'll have backpacks. You'll see them. They'll have game day jerseys on and hats. They'll just be handing out just free swag to everybody.
All right.
Sweet.
So let's get to the big one. We've heard there could be a big announcement today about what famous person or persons is making the Titans' 4th-round selection.
So,
can you tell us?
I can tell you. I can tell you now officially. Grammy Award-winning band Cage the Elephant will be announcing our 4th-round pick.
Bowling Green, Kentucky's
Bowling
own?
Green, Kentucky's
I
own.
love those guys.
Yeah, huge Taywan Taylor's fan. They love them.
Oh,
yeah. Western
That's
Kentucky.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's
so
really cool.
they'll be
Cage the
announcing it,
Elephant.
yeah, live from the draft stage
That's
downtown.
big time.
Those are friendly-looking guys.
They are. Well, they're from Bowling Green.
There you go.
They've got to be good people.
Yeah.
Toke Sequoia, thanks for stopping by.
Of course, happy to be here.
All right, you can stick around for our Take 3 segment, which is going to have to go
Awesome.
fast.
Okay, I
Amie
can go
Wells,
fast.
Take 3. Tell them how they can send in their questions.
Send questions to me at Titans Amie. Send them my way, and we'll get them asked right here on the OTP Road to Nashville. Mike Keith, here's the first question, and
Go.
this is all the way from Germany. Carl from Germany.
Carl from Germany.
He asked, how will the change to having Arthur Smith as the offensive coordinator impact the Titans' offense, and how will that change the way John Robinson approaches the draft?
I think the good news is it doesn't have to impact anything because they don't have to change much. And in doing so, I think he can pick the pieces and parts or sign guys who are out there who sort of give the Titans a boost. There's nothing they have to do. It's what they decide they want to do, which is why sticking with Arthur was such a good move.
Jane from Brentwood asks, who would be your dream guest on the OTP?
Who's yours?
You want me to go first?
Sure.
Justin Timberlake.
I agree. That's
I
a good
think
one.
that he would be the best guest that we could have. He's a local guy.
Sports.
See,
loves
he
sports.
loves sports. He's funny.
He is funny.
Yeah, that is my guess. Justin Timberlake, if you're listening to the OTP Road to Nashville, please come be
Time
on
to
our
get
show.
on board.
Yeah.
You've
hop
done
on
the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
We're for the Grizzlies too.
Hop on the Titans train.
This is football, so come. We would love to have you. Mine's actually Garth Brooks.
Oh, that would be a good one.
Garth Brooks loves sports. I know. Nashville guy, understands what a big deal this draft is. I would just like to sit and talk ball with Garth Brooks.
Would he bring Trisha Euro?
If he would, that would make me even happier.
That would be so great. Okay, here's the last question. Austin from Chattanooga says, where is Coach Mack? When is he going to be on the show?
He's sitting right there tomorrow.
All right, there you go, Austin.
And that leads us into Dave McGinnis is on the OTP Road to Nashville tomorrow. It's only fitting that with Dave McGinnis on the show, we will be previewing edge rushers, and he will also take us through the new rule which allows pass interference to be reviewed, impact on the game. All of that, a lot of Coach Mack, meaning we'll just wind him up and let him go. It'll be the OTP Road to Nashville tomorrow with Coach Mack. Before we let you go, one more time, Toke Sequoia, where do people go to register for the Music City Experience?
So going to either on social media, we'll be tweeting it, we'll be posting it on Facebook, Instagram, but as well, titansonline.com/draftmce.
And you could do this on the stage.
On live from the draft stage.
On the stage.
Yeah,
hey,
awesome.
Thank you.
Of course.
Amie Wells, great job.
Happy to be here.
Thanks, Tokes.
Thanks to everybody for being with us. Cage the Elephant will make the 4th-round pick for the Titans on April the 27th.
Woohoo!
That's awesome. Lots of good stuff happening. 23 days until players are drafted in Nashville. Have a great day, everybody.
But I never lose rest. Every penny that I get, I earn. One day I'm gonna learn. I rumble and I roar. I'm winning, I ain't even keeping score. It's a movement, a revival. And if you ain't with me, you're the rival. Ever since I was young, I caught my own path. You can go and make fun, I'ma get the last laugh. I'm on top of the world now. If you don't like it, you can shut your mouth. I'm singing like